Welcome into the Week 7 edition of Game Theory Thursdays. I'm your host, Ben Hostler. I am joined by Sam Sherman. We are here to break down the Week 7 DFS slate. As always, we want to shout out our sponsors, OwnersBox Fantasy. You guys can head to ownersbox.online. Use promo code KARMA for a deposit match up to $500, a free DFS entry, a free Lightning Lineups entry. Really, really good deal. Take advantage of it. It's a relatively new DFS site. They have Superflex, which I think is really cool, especially for football. You don't have to worry as much about just the saturated DFS contests that you get on FanDuel and DraftKings. There's less of a player pool. There's been some overlay the last few weeks on NFL. So if you're grinding a bankroll up or you're relatively new, take advantage of stuff like that. OwnersBox down online. Use promo code Karma. We'll talk about some OwnersBox plays a little bit throughout the podcast. And then Sam and I have been building OwnersBox lineups on our Sunday morning stream, which the people have loved. Sam, our lineup popped off last week.
Of course it did.
Yeah, the one that we built on Sunday morning did really well with ETN and a couple of those guys that we had on there. But we're here to talk Week 7. I will note that if you guys want access, it's been a really good start to the year for the core plays. If you guys want access to Sam's core plays, my core plays, AC, Matt, NBA's here. I've crushed NBA the first 2 nights. So head to the website and check out a membership for that. The Discord's been popping off. You can get in the Discord for free. But Sam, let's start out here. I'll kick it to you. What's your thoughts on the Week 7 slate? I know we were chopping up a little bit before we started the podcast. I think it's a weird slate. There's a very clear direction I want to go. But what's your thoughts on the slate? And then you can kind of lead us off at quarterback here if you want to.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one where I'm glad last week, I got smoked. The chalk hit again. I played the wrong running back. There's so much running back value. I just knew I was screwed. This week, it seems like there's a couple pieces that are forming that are pretty chalk at running back, maybe wide receiver. But in general, it doesn't seem as condensed in ownership. And so I think it's an interesting spot where, you don't have Josh Allen. We do have some studs, but I don't know how much people want to pay up for quarterback because we have Chalk Geno and people want to pay up for Josh Jacobs at 40% ownership. So it's hard to say. Going into quarterback, I think we both agree. Lamar should be everyone's number one on the slate. He's mine. I don't think 8,000 is even expensive enough, to be honest. We know what his floor is and we know what he can do. I don't know about you. Ben, I would go there in cash if I have the money. I don't think it's a must, but I do think he's interesting in cash. And in terms of other guys I would use in cash or small field, I like Lamar. It is risky, but I am fine going back to Brady. This has been a weird time for him, but I think he can still bounce back. And then if not playing him, if I was dropping down, I guess Geno is not terrible, but maybe I just would go back to Mariota and hope he gets 15 if I really want to jam in the studs. I don't want to talk about everyone though, Ben. Those are just the guys I consider for cash.
Yeah, so I think that this week in particular is a little bit more spread out than the last few weeks. We've hit a point the last few weeks where in cash games and small field tournament type stuff, Josh Allen has been pretty highly owned. Even last week, he was over 30, 35, 40%. I don't think we'll have that this week. I think it'll be a little bit more spread out. So I think for cash games, people will definitely consider dropping down to Geno Smith. I think they'll consider Dak Prescott at 6,700. Joe Burrow maybe could get in the mix as well at 6,900. And then we have Lamar. So for me, I don't know. Typically, since we've been doing this on Thursdays, I have a clear view of where I want my teams to go. I really don't have that this week. I haven't made any firm decisions. I really like Lamar though. So you and I were kind of talking about it. I can pull up. Lamar absolutely owns the Browns. I told you my on the ground take here in Northeast Ohio is John Johnson from the Browns, starting safety. Came out and said basically that some of these defensive guys are not taking things seriously. They're one of the worst defenses in the league. They're leaving, the facility as soon as practice is over. They're not putting in the work, which makes me just like Lamar even more, even though I already did. So I pulled up his last few games against Cleveland. 3 of his last 5, taking out the game last year where he got hurt. He's thrown for 3 or more touchdowns in 3 of those 5 games. His rushing lines in some of those games: 124 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 70 rushing yards, 100 rushing yards, 90 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, 66, 50. Like, he owns this team on the ground. He just owns them. They're one of the worst defenses in the league. So I'm going to be really, really heavy on Lamar this week, I think. Not sure if I'll play him in cash. Like, we'll kind of see like where the cash build goes this weekend. But just in general, I set it on the cash process. It's not like he'll be a secret, but I do think he might come in a little bit under-owned because he's the most expensive option this week. But it's a heavy Lamar week for me. I think Dak is fine. I think Geno's
Ben,
fine.
the other guy that will be chalk, I will say, you already. I mean, Herbert will be chalk. I'm fine eating that.
Yeah,
I think
he'll be
we've seen the Seattle defense is a joke. I mean, the guy that is clearly. I mean, I don't know. Again, it's so hard this year, but like, I want to play Mahomes because no one's gonna get him again. And that San Francisco defense is so hurt, as we saw last week with Atlanta putting up 28. But it's just really hard because Mahomes. I don't know who to stack him with besides Kelsey, and
Yeah,
he
I was
feels
gonna
the kind of guy
bring
you want to double.
I was gonna bring Mahomes up. So I think Mahomes is really good in tournaments, for sure. Probably one of my favorites. It's all gonna depend on what I do in cash though. Like, if I just YOLO it and just get up to Lamar, which I want to, and it's not like he won't be owned, but it's not gonna be a situation, I think, like last week or something where like everyone knew you were playing Josh Allen and like everyone did. Like, I do think Lamar probably won't be the highest owned quarterback this week. So it's all going to depend what I do in cash, but I really want to be in on Lamar. I like Mahomes for tournaments. I think that's fine. You can go back to Brady in tournaments. I think I probably prefer Brady to Dak. I know the game isn't quite as good, but Dak's 400 more. People seem, again, like people were kind of in on Brady a few weeks ago. And then everyone like talked themselves back into him for tournaments last week, and he just didn't have a good game. So this might be the week that people get off Brady, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not like they're throwing any less, and he's still throwing over 40 times a game, and he just has been it's been a weird thing for that team, especially all the stuff going on off the field. But yeah, I think Brady is like, I always will go back to him.
Yeah, I don't know about Geno though. Like, people are gonna ask, people are gonna want to play Geno in cash because he's 5,600. I don't know.
I'd rather play Heineke.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the cheap quarterback. Just that's not how I've played the last few years. And then when I look at my season thus far, 5-1 on DK, the 1 week I lost was the
deal.
week that I spent down at quarterback and played Marcus Mariota. Like,
well, yeah, dude, the DFS landscape has changed.
It has
used to
changed.
be punt at QB, and now it's you want the rushing QBs. That's why I said if I was going to go down. I mean, apparently, did you watch any of the Seattle game last week? They were like having design runs for Geno's.
He was like, he's not a bad play. Like, I don't want to come on here and like people watch this and like they don't play Geno. Like, Geno is in play for cash. I'm not even saying I'm not going to play him in cash. I have no idea what I'm doing with any of my teams yet. I'm just saying, typically the last few years I haven't wanted to spend down at quarterback in cash games. So we'll see. And then if he is the highest owned option, I'm not going to play him in tournaments,
No way.
Like, that's just how I'm viewing it. Like, give me Brady over him in tournaments. Give me Derek Carr over him in tournaments, I think. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I found on the Carr. It's weird because
not that I want to play Derek Carr, but I'm saying in tournaments, if he's lower owned than Geno, I'd probably rather play Carr. Like,
yeah, I would too. At least I know Carr is probably not likely, but Carr is like, at least has Devontae. He is probably capable of getting that 300 yards, 2-3 touchdowns. But Geno, yeah, he's looked fine, but I don't know. I mean, you're trusting a lot. I mean, we saw what they did last week where randomly it's like you have Kenneth Walker breaking off runs and then DJ Dallas is getting run. It's like,
yeah. So, I don't know. I guess we didn't come to any final stances. For me, at least, before we move on to running back, very, very heavy Lamar week. I'm going to be overweight on Lamar. I like Mahomes. I like Burrow. I like Brady. That's kind of the pool for me. Dak, I'm kind of iffy on. I don't know what to do with Dak. If he gets steamed really hard, I don't know if I'll do it. I think it's
Yeah, I like all those guys, and I'll play Dak if he's, I told you pre-pod, like under 5 or 7%. But if he's going to
yeah.
be like
I it's
towards
it's a
10,
great
even though it's not a
spot,
ton.
obviously, against
Yeah,
Detroit. Like it really is. But,
yeah.
Burrow's right there and they have, I would say, uh,
Atlanta
pretty
defense.
similar ceilings.
Yeah.
And then it's only 1,300 to get to Lamar. So 1,300 is a lot, but it's not like Dak's 6K and Lamar's like 82, right? Like I think the gap is
Hmm.
close enough that you could get to Lamar, and I'm just gonna be heavy on Lamar this week. If Lamar doesn't have a good game, I'm not gonna have a good week in DFS. That's just how it's gonna be, I think.
Hmm.
All right, we can move on to running back. So I'll start off here. Cash pool at running back, I think it's very clear. Josh Jacobs is going to be probably the highest owned running back on the slate. Kenneth Walker is going to be just behind him, 65 and 58 respectively on DraftKings. And then I think Austin Eckler will be pretty owned as well in that high over under game against Seattle. He's 83, so I think you can go three RBs in cash this week if you want. I think that's probably the three guys. Other guys that I would include in there, Breece Hall at 62 has been really good. I definitely think he's in play. Um, yeah, that's probably like where I would cut the cash pool. Like I don't want to play someone like Joe Mixon in like cash or like me personally, I'm not going to consider him in cash.
Yeah,
So I
then the only
think
one I would
I think
add is
those four
if not
guys are the
Eckler,
cash
you could.
pool.
Yeah, the only one I'd add is if you drop down to Barkley, I could see getting some ownership.
Yeah, I guess Lenny because he's been catching so many balls,
Yeah,
will
yeah.
definitely pop. So I guess I'd throw him in there. So that's like the five guys for cash. As far as guys I like in tournaments of that group, uh, I haven't really made any firm decisions here. It's doubtful that I would play. I think it's doubtful I play Kenneth Walker as chalk. It's doubtful I play Josh Jacobs as chalk, but I think that like the Josh Jacobs thing, I think it's overblown because he has been so much better this year than like we've ever seen him, and it's not like I feel like Josh Jacobs has always been a decent player. I mean, he was really good pass catcher in college, and then he kind of just never got used like a bell cow in the NFL. But they've been using him, like a bell cow. So I think that's kind of the difference. We've never seen him have that role consistently, and that's where people get hesitant. But I mean, he's top 6 or 7 in weighted opportunity on the slate, and it's a good matchup. So the stuff I play is like smaller field, so sometimes I'm fine playing chalk at running backs. So I don't want to say I'm not going to play him, and then I do play him, but I haven't made any firm decisions. Outside of like the chalky guys, who do you like at running back this week?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no chance I play Josh Jacobs. I think that I never play him and it normally goes badly, but I think Derrick Henry is going to be not unowned, but pretty low. Eckler's right there. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is interesting, but I don't know if I want to trust that because Hines is back. Derrick Henry, I mean, this Colts team sucks so bad. So I don't really care. I mean, Derrick Henry's been a little bit more involved in the passing game this year, which is it's not like he has Eckler or CMC, but at least catching some balls. And we know that if Tennessee gets up, they will just run Henry into the ground. And so I think, and like you were saying pre-pod, which I think is a good point, is that I think paying up for basically not Eckler this week will be contrarian just by nature because people are going to pay down and just jam in Jacobs and Kenneth Walker and whatever other guy becomes available. So I like Derrick Henry up top. I like going back to Jeff Wilson Jr. He last week was such a weird game. I mean, he kind of got game scripted out. Shanahan being a fake sharp was in the Atlanta Falcons. That's what's going to happen. But the Chiefs have gotten just smoked by running backs. I know Jeff Wilson doesn't get a lot of targets, but they do give up just a lot of, like, I think almost 30 points a game to running backs. Jeff Wilson, I think, is clearly still the bell cow guy, and he's now 58 and being the same price as Kenneth Walker. I don't think he's going to get very much ownership at all. Uh, and the last guy I would say, and I'll give it back to you, is I think that it's hard to say. I think ETN is an interesting one to go back to. We were talking about, like, I think the Giants defense is still overrated, but ETN has slowly been creeping up in opportunities, and he looked pretty solid last week, and he's only 54. And so I think that he has, like, I think he's shown as he continues back from injury, he has an explosive upside. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry. I mean, he hasn't completely commandeered the backfield yet, but he sees targets, and I just don't think the Giants D is really that great. So I think he's kind of a decent value at only 5,400.
Yeah, I think ETN is a good tournament play. A couple other guys I like. You didn't mention him. I like Dameon Pierce a lot this week. He's up there in weighted opportunity as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
I
Lovey
do
said he
think,
wants to give him the ball more
yeah,
too.
and I do think I think he gets squeezed. Like I just don't see
I do.
how he comes in higher owned than Jacobs or
Brees.
Kenneth Walker,
Yeah.
Brees Hall, any of those guys. So I think he's going to
Mm-hmm.
be lower than, like, he's going to project probably mid teens, but I think he's going to come in lower than that. And then the other guy, I can't believe I'm saying this because I don't know if I've played this guy in DFS the last 2 years. And I can't believe I'm interested in him. Can you guess who this is? I literally do not think I've played him probably since like week
Zeke.
one of yeah, it's Zeke. Probably like week
Mm-hmm.
one of like 2020. That might be like the last time I played Zeke Elliott. It's a great matchup. They're at home, and Dallas, like, I still don't know if it's because they paid him so much money, but they love
Dude,
just giving
they
Zeke
do,
the
yeah.
ball.
No,
Like,
it's
they
like
love it.
we can complain, but he's gonna keep getting the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah,
So
we
it's
can
like that's just
complain
what.
all we want, but the fact is
Yeah.
he's going to get the ball. He's coming off a good game against Philly, and it's a way better matchup. Uh, so
Dude,
I
Detroit
think he's
defense
fine.
is nothing.
And then, like, that's a way, like, if you're not playing Dak or CD, like, you can just play Zeke in a lineup and just get a little bit different, I think.
Ben, are we not going to mention? I cannot believe so. Just no one is playing Chubb.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will play Nick Chubb.
That's
I don't think anyone will
interesting.
play him. That's like an anthem. Like, we'll like wake up on Sunday morning and there'll be like
He's gonna
three
tag Discord
tags in
everyone nine
Discord
times.
from
Yeah.
Anthony about Nick Chubb, and he'll have him in his core. I think.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
if he's on him,
he'll
I won't
like
play
play
him.
him like
Yeah.
in his FanDuel core.
Totally.
I think.
Um,
Yeah, that's definitely what's
I
gonna happen.
think. Also one of. I don't know. It's always tough to play Aaron Jones. Always overpriced. Him or AJ Dillon. I could see one of them having a game. AJ Dillon in particular kind of regained that more split 60-40 from last game, only 56. Obviously, that's tournament play only. But yeah, I mean, Ben, the only thing I was going to ask you about, and we can move on, is will you play any of, with how bad the Packers defense is, especially in the run, will you play any Brian Robinson? And also, will you play if he's in, will you play DeAndre Swift, who no one is playing?
Yeah, Swift definitely.
Yep.
I don't know if I'll play him, but he'll be in my pool and like I'll consider it. I think for sure. I mean, coming off the bye week, like him and
Dude,
he
you
should be
can never
healthy.
get Swift alone, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll be super low, and I agree with that. Who was the other guy you said?
I said either Dylan or
Oh yeah. The
AJ
the
Aaron
Packers
Jones.
guys, I don't know. I can't tell. They're both good plays. Like they kind of seem like you could play one of them every single week.
Yeah, you're
But
gonna hit. Yeah,
they're
just because
definitely frustrating. I think if I was
yeah.
gonna play one, it'd probably be Jones, just because I do know like Jones does have like that 3 touchdown upside. I know he's
Mm-hmm.
7,600. No one's playing him at 7,600.
No, he's never owned because he's always
Yeah,
overpriced. Yeah.
I think if I was playing one, it would be him, but I don't know if I will have either of them. All right,
Yeah.
we'll move to receiver here. So I think like the chalkier guys are like cash game pool, a receiver. CD Lamb's going to be massively owned, I think, for sure, at his price and just the overall matchup
Mm-hmm.
against Detroit. Tyler Lockett, again, at 5,800 is going to be pretty highly owned. Chris Godwin at 63, coming off that big game, I think is going to be pretty highly owned. Romeo Dobbs at 5K, I think is going to
Dude,
be
and then
pretty highly
again,
owned.
people are obsessed with playing Brandon Cooks.
Yeah,
Oh my
Brandon
god,
Cooks will be up there for sure.
it's like an addiction.
That's kind of like the pool, I think, overall for like cash. I think most people will play CD Lockett and then like Godwin or Dobbs, like depending on what you do at your other
Yeah,
spots.
the only guy I could see in terms of some value or something, if Darren Waller ultimately is ruled out, I could see Renfro at only 40 because he's under 5,000 now.
Yeah,
I could see him
49.
getting
Yeah,
swung.
him versus Dobbs, I think is a convo. But Christian
Yeah,
Watson, I didn't see if he practiced on Thursday. He hasn't practiced yet this week. If he didn't practice today, obviously Cobb is out, I think too. So, and I just think Dobbs is good. Like I've played him like pretty much every week. Like I'm just gonna keep
yeah.
playing him. Um, but all right, so outside the chalky guys, Sam, who do you like? I have a couple guys I really like this week, but I'll let you go first. So who do you like at receiver
Oh,
this
I
week?
got I got so many guys. I'll probably keep it up. Okay, so up top, it's hilarious how low on Devontae Adams is going to be. If this ownership I have at like 6 holds, then he's like a must play for me. Jamar Chase, I think because of his price, won't get owned. Going to go right back. I think he's going to shred, as everyone else has, the Atlanta defense. Um, on the cheaper end, I also okay. So I think Drake London. I want to note even at potential chalk if 54 is like too cheap. I think that's a great play. I'm going to leave the guy at 51, Ben, for you. I know we both like him. Um, but the guys that lower is if Keenan misses again, and I'm curious if he plays. I saw he like wanted to play, but I think they have their bye next week, so I don't know why they'd rush him back if they're about to go on their bye. I'll go back to Joshua Palmer. I know like last week was probably more of a spike. Also, shout out Palmer because he won me all
He
the random
I don't know if you
showdown.
saw he has a concussion, so I don't know if he's playing Palmer.
Okay, I thought he would. Okay, I just didn't know how serious. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I haven't looked into it. I just know that he did have a concussion and like didn't practice yesterday or something.
oh, that's fine. So if he's out or something, I will definitely
Could play
go.
Bandy.
Oh yeah, dude. I
Bandy
mean,
is a preseason legend,
kind of is. I mean,
and
honestly, if
they were forcing him the ball.
if he's out in that same price range, I will totally, and assuming he plays too, but I'll totally go back to like Josh Reynolds or Khalif Raymond. Expect because Chark might not play. Apparently his ankle's like dead. And then dude, Ben, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention. I don't know. We're still not moving Zay Jones's price. He's still leading the team. The guy's a legend.
Yeah, you
Dude.
love Zay Jones. I think he's fine.
Seven and a half
He's always
targets a game.
he's always gonna be fine at that. Like as long as he's that price, he's gonna be fine. I think that's 100% accurate. Yeah, I think you covered it pretty well, guys. I really like one
Oh, and
Michael
then Nico
Gallup.
Collins.
Yeah, you
Nico
like Nico
Collins is
Collins.
42.
I think he's fine at his price for
He's
sure.
seen 32% of the air yards. No big deal.
Yeah. I like Michael Gallup at 5,100 a lot. He looks like Michael Gallup of old to me. He gives
He's not going to
you
be that
some,
price again.
yeah,
Dude.
he's not going to be this price. He gives you some leverage off of CD. He's cheaper. And I really like Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7,100. Nothing has changed about Amon-Ra St. Brown other than the fact that he missed a game, or two, whatever. But they're coming off of their bye week. He's healthy. You can Amon-Ra and Gallup like mini stack is gonna be like that's gonna be something that gets me really excited this week. So I
Well,
like
dude, not to mention like the Dallas defense is really good, and but people like avoid
yeah
the entire game. I'm like they have to throw to someone.
yeah they're
It's
gonna
not like
throw
they're
to
gonna
him,
zero.
and
Yeah.
I don't think this is a situation like Dallas does have a really good defense. I agree, but their strength is their pass rush, and Detroit has one of the best offensive lines in football. Like this isn't a situation where it was like Dallas against LA, and they just get boat rushed. Like Detroit's offense is good because their offensive line is so good. So, like I don't know.
Yeah,
And
it's
Amon
so
Ra
solid.
just gets so much. He gets so much work, man, and he's just
Yeah.
not. I don't see how he's owned because he's been out and like people don't want to play him and stuff.
No, the volume will be there. It's a matter of just
Yeah.
if he
So I love
scores.
him this week. I like going back to Mike Evans.
Yep.
They were kind of talking about getting him the ball like in the media, and yeah. I mean, I play Mike Evans a lot, but I think you can go back to him. So that's kind of like the guys that stick out to me. The one other guy, he's cheaper, is Alec Pierce. I talked about him on the cash process. I kind of thought he was going to be a little bit chalky, but he's only projecting for like 3% owned right now. I think he's a really, really good play. Like, I think he's just good at football, and
Dude, he is. He's run a route
Tennessee's
on
secondary is
94% of
horrible.
dude, he's run a route on 94% of dropbacks. He's seen like 26.5% of the air yards. I mean,
Yeah.
Pittman's just for a record, Pittman's seen 24.
Yeah, and so I think Pittman's fine too for like tournaments, like at
Yeah,
74,
I
he
just
will
could see
not
him getting
be.
ownership because people like playing Pittman and because he had like 150 targets last week or something like
Yeah.
that.
See, so like for me, like there's no way I'd play Pittman at 74 over Amon-Ra at 71. Like I'm playing Amon-Ra every single time.
Yeah.
And then you can
Oh, I
still
would play
you can
Mike.
still play Pierce
I'd
for
play Mike.
cheaper.
I'd play Big Mike. I'd play Amon-Ra. I'd play Mike Evans. I'd play all of them over Pittman. I actually have
Yes.
some interest. I never like playing him because it's such a wide range of outcomes, but I do have some interest in Devo Samuel this week. I could see him or Jeff Wilson having a massive game.
Yeah, I feel
I just
like
don't think people realize how bad the KC rushing defense is.
so I can never play Debo in like a cash game because he
Mm-hmm.
relies so heavily on big plays,
Totally.
and it's just
Yep.
it's tough for me to trust him in like a cash game. Tournaments love him, and if you're playing Mahomes, like you can get Debo on the other side of that, and I think that's fine. Like this feels like these big games like this is when they really lean on Debo. I think so. Like that's a fine tournament play. I just cannot play him in cash.
The last thing I'd say, Ben, is okay. So actually, I'll get to my last. I'll give my weekly like 3K guy who's dust in a second. So I think it's funny I have interest in all of them because I don't. I think one of Amari Cooper. God, if someone wants a good laugh. Last week I lost my Amari Cooper prop of over 4.5 catches, and he had 12 targets.
Yeah,
But I lost
what is
that
the
bet.
chances of that?
I lost that bet, just so everyone knows. I just think Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples Jones is like obviously the biggest boomer bust. I'm not saying he'll be not owned. He just needs to break a big play. One of them two, or if you want a super punt, David Bell, 3,200, playing in the slot, has not really been getting a lot of targets, but Baltimore. I just think people need to realize that the Baltimore defense is so bad. Like it's really terrible
Yeah.
and they're hurt. Like they get shredded everywhere. So I think playing Lamar, I think it's if you can have, whether it be Chubb or Amari or someone, I think there is definitely like, a big fantasy day very possible for one of the Cleveland guys as well.
Yeah, I don't hate that. And since I'm playing Lamar, like getting him or someone else on the other side, I think is definitely fine. All right, we'll wrap up with tight ends here. So I think this is a weird week for cash games because we have well, I shouldn't say weird. This is my type of week. We have several sub 3K tight ends that are cash game playable. We
Mm-hmm.
have Kate Otten at 2,700. We have Greg Dulcich at 2,500. Just scored that big touchdown on Monday Night Football. Looks like Cameron Brave will be out. I don't know if he's confirmed out already, but he's not going to play. And we know Tom Brady likes to throw his tight ends. We've already had a double-digit fantasy point day from Kate Otten with Cam Brate out earlier a couple weeks ago. So I
And can I
definitely
add
think,
on a third guy as Waller might miss, and then you have Foster Moreau at 2,800 too.
yeah. So I think people will be spending down at tight end in cash this week. Mark Andrews will always get his 20% or whatever he's owned because it's Mark Andrews. So I will
Do you mean the same
note,
Mark Andrews who has 40% of his team's air yards?
yeah.
Yeah, that one.
So
Yeah.
I love Mark Andrews this week. I said it on the cash process. Obviously, I just talked about Lamar for like 10 minutes when we were doing quarterback. I'm going to be so far in on the Lamar Andrews stack. He crushes the Browns too. I read it off on the cash process. I texted you guys. He has like 6 or 7 touchdowns in his last 5 games against Cleveland. He just owns them. So I will note he has not practiced yet this week. So I don't know if John Harbaugh was lying or what, but he didn't practice yesterday, which is fine. It's Wednesday. Most guys, a lot of guys don't practice on Wednesday. So John Harbaugh came out and he's like, yeah, it was just a rest day. He also didn't practice today. So I don't know if it was like they're just giving him rest because he's been carrying the load or if he's actually hurt. We'll know more on Friday. I'm really hoping he just gets back and practices tomorrow so that we can play him comfortably. If for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason he's ruled out, that just gives us another cheap tight end. Isaiah Likely would be a great play at 3K.
Dude, he might be the best of that
Yeah,
bunch,
he
honestly.
probably will be. But hopefully Andrews can play. I'm gonna be really in on Andrews. I like Kate Otten. I like Dulcich. I think you play double tight end easily this week because Andrews is a receiver. I mean, he has the second highest target share of all pass catchers on the slate. He's not a tight
Mm-hmm.
end. So just look at him at like a receiver. You can play him along with, Dulcich or Kate Otten or whatever you want to do. I think that's fine. Other than that core of guys, Sam, who do you like at tight end?
Gerald Everett.
Okay. Do
Seattle,
you
the
have any
Seattle
concerns?
Seahawks.
Do you have any concerns with Parham coming back here?
Well,
Because
first of all, I thought
Parham
Everett's kind of
actually did
hurt.
play a good bit.
Yeah, Parham was hype, but I mean, that's another prop I lost was Everett not being able to catch the ball. Dude, Seattle against tight ends is just a thing. If you look at the slate, like average points against like DK points, you'll see like, 12, 13, 8, 9. Seattle's 25. Like last week, they let Dusty Zach Ertz 10 targets, like 7 for 70 or something. And if you look at the other weeks, they had TJ Hawkinson annihilate them. They had who else just wrecked them too? Someone else or they played the Saints. That doesn't really matter. The Saints are useless, but they just have been getting crushed by tight ends all year. I love stacking Herbert with Gerald Everett because they're not two wide receivers. Everett's seen, decent target. 6 targets a game for a tight end is not bad, and he's only 4K, and he just won't be able to get that own because everyone's going to play the punts. Other than him, I don't feel like I'm chasing, but he did just score finally. Kyle Pitts, Cincinnati cannot cover tight ends either. This is definitely chasing, but Robert Tonyan did look pretty good last week, so I think he's in play. And then Hayden Hurst, I just like his part Burrow stacks just because obviously like Higgins and Jamar Chase are the alphas, but Hurst has been running a decent amount of routes and he has a decent amount of red zone targets. And I think he makes for a different piece in what could be, higher owned guys.
Yeah, I like.
But you can play Dalton Schultz too. You can play all these guys.
I like Njoku on the other side of like a Lamar stack. Lamar Andrews, Njoku, I think is fine. Tonyan, I've played a lot this year. I think he's fine as well. For other guys that you didn't mention, so do you think can you Galaxy Brain Donald Parham at 2,700 as a pivot off of the other kind of chalky cheap tight ends?
The only thing is, I thought he was.
Can you just imagine like these cheap tight ends all dud, and then you get to that game and like Parham scores like 2 touchdowns? Like that could definitely happen.
First of all, I could see that. I thought he was a concussion protocol too.
He might be. I don't know. All I know is he played a lot. When I went back and looked at snap stuff, he had played a lot in that. He had played a lot more than I thought he did in that.
Yeah, he was like leading the team in receiving until Eckler went full go.
Yeah, he played a good bit. I see him as a Q tag, but it doesn't tell me what it is without me searching.
So Parham was in concussion protocol as of yesterday. So
okay. We'll see. So maybe I'm just on here talking nonsense then. So that's good.
Ben, I kind of worked off me last week, and that wasn't a great game, but I would totally go back. George Kittle is still super cheap, and no one plays him.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention Kelsey, who I think's fine. Obviously, it's Kelsey.
Yeah,
but,
I just think.
But how do you get
better.
to 8K Kelsey? I don't know. It's just tough.
Don't.
Yeah, it's real tough. Kittle definitely is fine, I think. So if I don't know. I think how you could play it is you could probably go. You could go Mahomes.
You're totally Ben's gonna totally go Lamar Andrews Njoku. I can already see it from now.
Yeah. I really want.
Which I like.
I really want to for tournaments. How would you stack Mahomes? Like, you could get Kittle on the other side. You get Debo on the other side. Obviously, Kittle's like a bit cheaper. Like, who would you put Mahomes with? Look, I had a great tournament week last week thanks to Juju, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like Juju did anything other than like rip off some like broken play and score a touchdown. Like,
it is funny. He only had like 4 or 5 catches.
Yeah, it really was like pretty lucky on the Juju thing. I'm not gonna lie. So who MVS
and as
had
the theme
0.
of this pod guy, just letting you guys know that I also swapped off Juju last week because I thought he'd be high.
Yeah. So if you guys want an insight, obviously we have the secret group chat consisting of various members, but myself, Sam, Matt, who you guys know from the podcast, is in the secret group chat, but. So, I had already told Sam.
This guy gives the worst advice of all time.
Dude, Matt has like the worst late swap advice. But
I
had already told Sam that I was playing Juju. I told him you came on the Sunday morning show, right? So I think Sunday morning is when I said, I was like, yeah, I have Allen, Knox, and Juju. That was one of my tournament teams. So I already told him this. So he has Juju on a team. And what was the 2v2? You text in the group like before that game starts. You're like, should I move off Juju? I know you went to McKenzie.
So I had Gabe Davis and I had Juju, and I was like, I kept Gabe Davis. But then I was like, I should swap on a McKenzie because I'm trailing and he'll be way less owned. And McKenzie was higher owned than I was like, I deserve to lose.
The classic. Dude, the
Ben,
classic
Ben,
when
and then
late
having to
swap
watch
goes wrong.
Mackenzie had the most butterfingers he's ever had. He was dropping every ball. I was like, this is just
Sam Galaxy brained a late swap onto a
dude,
guy that was higher owned than the guy that he
so good.
swapped off of. Just
Higher
classic.
owned and worse and less involved. It was just so
Truly, truly a classic.
that was
Just
so
a
bad.
classic moment. Like I wish you guys could have
Oh
been there. It was great. I wasn't even looking at my phone, or I would have told you to
no,
keep
dude, I'm sure you were
Juju
howling
because I
laughing
had
as you should
Juju.
have been.
Yeah, I don't know
I
what I
know
was
you did.
doing.
Everyone.
I
No,
was
and then
grittying around my
Matt
house
could be
because
like
I had
I
played
could
Jamar, so I was just like,
I could be like Matt. Like I swapped off Jamar Chase too. I mean, it's
yeah,
like
I had
Matt.
Chase. I was like, I didn't even care. It
I
was
could be like, oh, I'm in first. Matt would be like, oh yeah, make sure you swap on to David Bell.
oh,
You don't want to lose that lead.
just the worst. But yeah, so that was. Thank you guys for watching the video. Like, if you were still watching, like the video. It helps us out. Subscribe to the channel. Turn the bell on. We do these videos every single week. I might start doing some NBA videos soon too. We're gonna see about that. But like the video. Thank you guys for watching. We're gonna give out some bold calls before we get out of here. Sam, before we do the bold calls, what's like your top stack, or just like what do you think your main team will be this week?
It'll probably be if I have any balls, which probably don't. It would be the Bucks, but it'd be the Bucks or um, Lamar or Herbert. But I only say three just because it depends on the ownership.
Yeah,
And like
yeah,
it depends if Keenan's playing and yeah.
yeah. I'm 50-50 on if he plays or not. I have no idea.
In my opinion, I'm like if I was the Chargers, why would he play? Like let him.
What
They're playing.
so
Playing
what are your Can you look at this? What's your potential late swaps looking like here when we get to this? When we get to this 4 o'clock
well,
hour, like
yeah. Well, so as you know, so if anyone doesn't know this, I have like such a mental block where I cannot play a lineup that does not have at least one guy in the late, preferably two plus guys in the late.
mm,
So the problem with that, Ben, is I'll probably be losing because I play I'll play David Bell or something. And then the problem is that I'm pretty sure Herbert is in the late slate.
he is,
So if I
yes,
do that, I have
yes,
all the late guys.
yeah,
But late swaps we're looking at. I could definitely see myself being on.
Donald
Let's
Parham.
see here.
It's a little late
Yeah, I
swap
could
for
see
you.
myself going into Dark Park.
If he plays, there you go.
I could see myself swapping off of like DK, Metcalf, or Lockett, and like pivoting onto like DJ Moore. I could totally see myself doing that.
God.
And then DJ Moore gets 17 targets for 3 catches. I could at that. Oh my god, that might happen. I'll be like, well, he's only 5K. No.
All right. If you guys want to tilt with us on Sundays, celebrate. The Discord's super fun when like we're doing well and stuff. Like it's like a party in there. You can get in the Discord for free. You can get into the premium channels if you sign up, dfscover.com/NFL for access. Sam already alluded to it. You guys already know Lamar, Mark Andrews, David Njoku. Just jam it in. I mean, that's gonna probably be my main team this week. We'll wait and see, but that's looking like my main team. Bold call for me. I'll go right back. Amon-Ra, 2 touchdowns, and then Sam, you can give me your bold call as well.
Oh, I've been so ready. I'm going Zay Jones scores a touchdown and goes for over 100 yards. It's
All right, Zay
happening.
Jones weekend is happening. Lamar weekend is happening. You guys heard it here first. Thank you guys for watching the video. Like the video. Good luck in week 7, and we'll see you guys next week.